Hey guys, so one of the biggest blockers of being able to connect into our heart is trauma. And one of the main areas that I do as a counselor is working with people and helping them to connect into their pain and to work on processing and working through their trauma. For men that have experienced trauma, it very often creates a blockage of connecting into our heart. And what that does is it stifles, it compresses our ability to be able to express our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So I really want to encourage you as you're, kind of working through this process of, hey, how do I connect into my heart? How do I begin to give myself permission to cry and to show up more vulnerable in relationships? Is to reflect on some of the trauma that you may have experienced in your life and to think about maybe how this trauma is in some way blocking you from being able to access your heart. And the other big part of this is how traumas can act as triggers, which can cause us to struggle in our communications and our behavior patterns with our wife and with those that we love. When we have a trauma trigger, there is something inside of us that almost gets clicked on, if you will, and it prevents us from being able to connect into our heart and very often causes us to express ourselves in ways that we're not so proud of. And so very often as we may see somebody who says, oh man, you're so angry. You're always angry in the way that you express yourself, right? I would invite you to think about, hey, is there something inside of me that's being triggered when it's a particular topic or subject, or maybe I start to feel a certain way? As we spoke about before, abandonment was a big trigger for me. And so there were times where I would not be showing up as the best version of me in my relationships and with those that I loved, particularly if there was something inside of me that was triggered as it relates to abandonment. And it's going to look different for different people. I'm just being vulnerable to share with you what mine is. For you, it may be something different. But I want to really encourage you and invite you to think about, hey, maybe what are some of these different things that are triggering to me? Because those triggers block us from being able to get into our heart, and they also can cause us to act out in ways that we really don't mean to in our interpersonal communications and relationships with our wife, with our partner, and with those that we love. So just something to think about, an invitation to further explore. Hey, what are some of those triggers? Guys, I think we all have them. I think it's part of the human experience that we're going to experience pain. We're going to experience trauma. And by being vulnerable and opening up, not only with others, but really connecting in with ourselves to think about, what are some of those triggers? Inside of those triggers, when we can disarm them, allows us to show up in our relationships, not only that much more vulnerable, but in a way where we can communicate from a more emotionally regulated place.